They tried mightily. They clawed back like crazy in the fourth quarter. They had Moda Center buzzing. Ears were ringing because the crowd was getting so loud. But the comeback was for naught as the Bulls grabbed the 122-121 victory over your Portland Trailblazers. Welcome into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you tonight. If you want to join the conversation, there are multiple ways. You can head on over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and start the chat there. You can grab your telephone, dial 503-248-0620 to get on the air with me and talk a little hoop. And, of course, you can use the brand new fancy Rip City Radio text line. Just text 88528, and we'll get the text there, and we can read those texts on air, where, the very first text that we got during that game was Bill Schonely is rolling over. Yep, we know. You've got to hit your free throws. Absolutely, you have to hit your free throws, because in a game that was decided by 1 point, all the Blazers need to do was hit, 2 more free throws and they win. But they missed 11 of them tonight. Your Portland Trail Blazers struggling from the line, 21 of 32, or 65.6%. As for the Bulls, they only had 14 attempts, and they missed 5 of them, so they weren't shooting well either. This was a very, 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 very weird basketball game, because let me tell you what, this was a game that we came into thinking, hey, it's going to be rough. They're probably not going to be too competitive because everybody under the sun is out of the lineup, and depth is going to take a hit. It's going to take a mini miracle, right? Well, that miracle looked all right through the first half. They're like, oh, look at that. We're down 4 or whatnot. And then the third quarter happens. The third quarter, which over the last few games has been just the Blazers' Achilles heel, right? And you're sitting here and you're just like, no, not again. They were outscored by 12 points by the Chicago Bulls. It was 36-24 in that third quarter. The Blazers just 9 of 24 from the field, and it was oh no. But then the comeback started. The Blazers outscored the Bulls 39-21 until that final shot by Nikola Vucevic gave the Bulls the 122-121 victory. It was a heck of a game. Absolute heck of a game. And I know everyone's going to look at those final possessions. I've seen a couple people mad at Denny Avdia, and it's like, okay, so I'd have to watch that play quite a few more times, but it looked to me like they may have been in a zone defense, so he's covering his zone. There's 2 people out in that zone, and, they kick the ball out. He rotates late. Vucevic gets the shot. It's the NBA. It happens. That's not the it's just like everything else. Like, that's not the single thing that did the Blazers in, was that final shot. Maybe if Denny didn't miss a free throw just a few seconds before that, maybe if Jeremy Grant didn't miss a free throw just a few seconds before that, things like that changed the game. And I don't want that sucks. It sucks to lose on another buzzer beater, right? You lost to the Orlando Magic and Desmond Bane not that long ago, and another buzzer beater hurts. But this is one of those weird games where you gotta applaud the Blazers fight, because nobody gave them a chance. We weren't giving them a chance during the pregame show. We were just play sound basketball, maybe try some things out, understand this is going to be a rough night. And it looked like it was going to end that way. At one point, Caleb Love picks Giddey's pocket, goes up for a dunk. He has a wide open lane. He gets rim checked, slams the ground hard. Josh Giddey grabs the rebound, goes down. It's a 5-on-4. He's wide open. He hits the 3. As I tweeted out that sequence. I was like, that's the game in the nutshell. Just nothing going your way. You're down by 20. This is not fun. And then they mounted that massive comeback. Denny Avdia was huge. Jeremy Grant was huge. Holy smokes, was Donovan Clingan huge, not just figuratively, but literally, pulling down every single offensive board that they needed, doing absolute monstrous work on the glass. So the comeback part of it was great, especially when you're shorthanded. But at the same time, if you want to blame Denny Avdia for what happened in that final defensive possession, he's also on the floor with City Sissoko and Chris Murray and those end of the bench guys who aren't typically in those situations, and definitely aren't typically your closing lineup. And absolutely, I'm not dogging them either. Give them credit, because they showed up. they all showed up when they needed them to tonight. Chris Murray was huge down the stretch. That dunk that he got, Donovan Clingan got the rebound and threw it to him. Like Klingen's on the ground. I'm sitting here going, oh, man, not a jump ball. But he gets the ball to him. He gets a dunk. It's pretty awesome. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to you in just a sec. But let's look at the box score real quick. Starting off with the Chicago Bulls, Isaac Okoro had 13 points, 11 points from Mata Bazelis, 27 points from Nikola Vucevic, who just doesn't seem to age at all. 2 points from Kevin Horter, 9 points from Josh Giddey on the bench, 25 points from Kobe White, including a clutch 3 in the late stages there of the fourth quarter. On the Trailblazers side of things, Jeremy Grant, a near double-double, 33 points, 9 boards, 4 assists. Toumani Camara, 14 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 17 points, 21 rebounds, 10 of them on the offensive glass for Donovan Clingan. Denny Avdia, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists, just 3 turnovers, a 32-point triple-double. And Sidi Sissoko getting the start tonight. He had 22 minutes, 5 points, 6 boards, 2 steals. On the Blazers bench, Caleb Love had 5 points. Chris Murray had 9 points. Javante Cook chipped in 4. And Young Hansen, he played 8 minutes. He had just 2 points. Blazers going 10 deep in this one. Caleb Love had a rough night. He was 1 of 12 from the floor, a team worst -20 in the plus minus. And again, Blazers fall 122 to 121. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is a way to do that. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and of course, hit up the new text line at 88528, where you can get in on the chat there, where someone says, the lady who sits in section 330 who screams, make your free throws. She might be onto something. Yeah, she might be. I mean, this is the thing about it is Bill Schonely, you've got to make your free throws. He was ahead of the curve. Like he was out ahead of this thing. But you absolutely have to. And we've talked about, getting to the line too, not committing fouls. How many times have we seen the Blazers, they lost this game by 5 points, but they lost the free throw battle because the other team made 15 more free throws at the line. In this one, the Blazers only made, excuse me, as he stutters to get through. The Blazers outscored the Chicago Bulls from the free throw line 21-9. 21-9. That's a 12-point advantage. But when you leave 11 of those free ones off the board, that is not a good recipe for success. That's absolutely terrible. As people were texting me, and you're seeing on social, every single Blazers just be shooting free throws tonight. You guys sit there till you make 100 in a row. I don't know what it is, but 11 free ones that don't go in absolutely hurts you in a game that was decided by a buzzer beater. All right, let's head out to the phone lines. We're going to start with our guy Bryce in Portland, who's been waiting very patiently. Bryce, thanks for waiting. Welcome into the fifth quarter.
Hey, I mean, a beautiful game to watch in person. I mean, that comeback, Jeremy Grant Glass night with, I don't know if you've talked to anybody or you heard about it, way different than last year where it's to your own devices with the glass throughout the game and not the little redemption card. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I think big thing, though, 17 for 26 free throws, that could have been the thing. But, I mean, if you want to get technical about a point there, Tiago Splitter, great interim coach, he could have said silly goose instead of whatever he said in that technical, and we would have been going into extra. So don't put it on Denny Avdia.
I'm not putting it on Denny, Bryce, I'm not putting this game on Denny in the least. I think there's a couple of people I've seen on social trying to call him out for a defensive lapse on the end. And I think if you really break down the play, I don't know if it was a massive defensive lapse. There's 2 guys out there, looked like they were in his zone. He's covering his zone. The rotation was late. I mean, I think everybody in that building thought Kobe White was going to drive because they hand the ball off to him and then he takes his time. Like that, either he was telegraphing it to make him think, which that may have been the case, or he intended to drive and the Blazers defense shut it off, which is where he found Vucevic. Because I mean, I thought dead to rights he was going to drive to the rim. So I don't think that anyone on the court might have been alone in that thinking too.
I think Vucevic got so many easy looks, uncontested threes in the first where we had a lot of control. And I think people will kind of like miss out on the rewatch of it. They're going to hyper focus on the fourth quarter. But the first, if you're looking at, like giving up extra points, like letting Vucevic like get right at the line behind the logo, uncontested threes at least 2 times, maybe 2 times in a row, but maybe up to 4. That's where we got to put a little bit more pressure around the rim, and then yes, it's tough. We want to shoot the 3 a bunch, but like maybe just like basket after another, the way that we make turnovers. If we're getting the stop, sometimes like we can just beat them back with like 2 points. Rebound, like 66 rebounds overall. Like you get 60 plus rebounds, maybe you don't even need to really shoot the long ball if you're playing like that.
Yeah, it's there's so many things, man, and I'm glad you're pointing that out too, because there was a couple times there in the first half where, I mean, Vucevic was just going old school on him, and I'm sitting next to Chad doing. I just look at him like, he just big boy Donovan Clingan there. Like there was a couple moves in the paint where it's just, yep, I'm a vet. I've been in this league for what, 12, 15 years. I know what I'm doing. And they were giving him some wide open shots early, and he's a hell of a shooter for a big man. He doesn't shoot like Donovan Clingan is trying to shoot more threes, but he has that slow big man shooting motion. Vooch doesn't have that. He's got that like athletic shooting motion. Hard to describe. That's the best I could say. But no, there's so much to go on.
Dare to say, kind of like DeWalt Reef last game.
Yeah, yeah, we've seen that before. Yeah, and DeWalt has that quick one too. But yeah, it wasn't just the fourth quarter. I thought the comeback was amazing, and sometimes you put yourself in a hole where it's hard to come back, and you can't make any single mistake in that situation. And so one little thing hurt him there. Free throws, are easy to point at, and that's why we're talking about it. But I just want to reiterate, at least I ain't gonna blame Denny for nothing. Ain't 32-point triple double on a night where you have half your roster basically. Dude was balling out.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really get mad at somebody if they shoot a triple double. I mean, my biggest criticism for Denny Avia, maybe that neck beard. But other than that, like, hoop-wise, like, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Bryce. Hey, man, thank you for the call, as always. Some great points, and appreciate the conversation. Looking at the text line right now, we have someone from the 503 saying, hey, I needed a couple of shots to go down from Caleb Love. Absolutely you did. 1 of 12 from the floor tonight. And I've said this, that I do love that he isn't afraid to shoot, because sometimes players are just timid, right? And they don't want to shoot. He doesn't have that in him. He is not afraid to shoot the ball. He just needs to get in himself and understand that, you know what, just because you're not afraid to shoot the ball doesn't mean you should always have the green light. Like, you need to tone it down and make the right play. There's a couple times that he wasn't making the right play, whether it was the 3 or driving to the rim. We were just like, oh, just nope, that's not what we wanted in that situation. I gotta give him points for hustling and being thrown into there and trying to get it going. Also, that pick of Giddey and missed dunk ended up not being very good. Not being very good. Also on the chat, we said, hey, Chris, heard a stat that drove me crazy. We lead the league in three-point attempts off an offensive rebound. Okay, I haven't heard that, but that is an interesting stat. I was looking at Chad during the game and looking up some stats. Interesting enough, the Blazers lead the league in field goal attempts, but they are bottom 10 in field goal percentage. They are top 5, I believe it was, in three-point attempts. They are bottom 5 in 3-point percentage. Those are not good numbers. And you compare that to both Chicago and Phoenix, who you just played in the last 2 nights, and both those teams were top 5 in 3-point attempts and 3-point percentage. Take a lot, make a lot. Blazers not so much, and it is a struggle when this team doesn't have a lot of shooters and they struggle to shoot. Man, it's hard to get in. So when you see that fourth quarter, all of a sudden those shots are falling. The offense can look good when it wants to look good, but you'll hear in a little bit when we play Thiago Splitter, because it was interesting because he was asked, what was missing from tonight, and he plain and simply said a point guard, a point guard. Yeah, he knows when you don't have that. And I think you got to give Jeremy Grant a lot of credit, because if you paid attention, there was a lot of times in this game where I saw him kind of using his hands gestures. But like, think about yesterday in that game against Phoenix. There was a couple times like Denny Avdia, end of the quarter, takes a shot with 10 seconds left on the shot clock, misses the shot, and it allows Phoenix to go down and take another shot. You want to get the last shot. You don't want to shoot it with 10 seconds left. So tonight I saw kind of a similar situation where Jeremy Grant looks at I think it was Toumani Camara as he's bringing the ball up, and he gave him the one. Like, hey, one possession, one shot. We don't want to waste this. And then Jeremy goes to the corner, and he takes both hands, and you see him do like the universal sign for slow it down. Like he wanted to make sure the offense was in the right spot to make sure they got the last shot. There was no rebound, and Chicago didn't get a shot off after that. So I thought that was important. That's that vet leadership. I absolutely like that from him. All right, let's head to Brandon in Portland, who's been waiting patiently. Brandon, welcome into the fifth quarter.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to try to take a minute and speak a couple things into existence. First being, I think that this year's draft class is very deep. I understand, as a lifelong Blazer fan, I understand that it's heartbreaking to hear someone say, let's start tanking again, but hey, if we can get a top 5 pick, let's do it. I think Splitter can't win games, so let's keep him for this year. That being said, you know who is under contract through ESPN only for this year and then available next season as a head coach is none other than Mike Malone, who is known for what? Turning Jokic into Jokic. Well, guess what? We have the Chinese Jokic. Who better than Mike Malone as the head coach next year to turn Jokic into Jokic? And last point, hypothetical trade. It's clear the trade tester or analyzer. Well, hear me out on this. I know Rip City hates this trade, but hear me out. Drew Holiday, Time Lord on the expiring contract, the 2027 first, or none other than John Morant. And I know people hate this, but guess what, guys? When stocks dip, what do? You buy low. Let's buy low on Ja. Scoot's probably not a franchise guy. We know Ja has his issues, but he's been a league dominator in the past. Let's be honest, Dame's only under contract here for 2 years. After that, he may or may not even be here. Ja's only 26, guys. Let's think about it. And also, Mike Malone, one more time, as head coach, please can we make this happen, guys? Thank you for the call.
Yeah, of course, and thanks for the points you make there, Brandon. First off, I'm going to say on Thiago, I have no idea what his future is, his head coach prospects. I do know he's going to be a good head coach in this league. I feel that, and I don't know if that's with Portland or anywhere else. I've liked Thiago for a long time. I know that you're a listener to the show, so you know that I was very happy when they signed him as an assistant. And to his credit, this is like, it's a little bit different. Like when we sat there and we really, really analyzed like Chauncey early on in his stint, that's because he was hired to be the head coach. Like, so when you're hired to be the head coach, you absolutely should be under that microscope. Thiago wasn't hired to do that. He was hired to have like his specific assistant coach job, like every assistant does. They're not running the whole team. Oh, you're the big man guy. You're going to do this. You're a defensive guy. You're going to do that. And now here he is as a head coach. Like, so he is learning literally on the job. Now we can say that frustrated us with Chauncey and such, and that's a fair complaint, but the difference is he was hired to be the head coach. So you're frustrated. You're like, really? You hired a guy to be a head coach who has to learn how to be a head coach because he hasn't been one before? Thiago wasn't hired to be this. Thiago was kind of thrust into this, and he's even mentioned learning a couple different things because the difference between the Euro game and the NBA game, and secondarily, like I mean, it's not Tiago's fault that half the team's injured tonight. He's out there playing City Sissoko and Chris Murray and guys that are developmental guys really, and so there's a lot to that. I will not blame this or say that they got to cut bait on Tiago anytime soon. Now Mike Malone would be great. To your next point, John Morant, I don't want to touch John Morant. John Morant is a highlight reel. John Morant's game is also going to be limited as he gets older. He's already shown that. I mean, the amount of injuries because he likes to play above the rim. Once that explosiveness goes, he's not a great shooter. He's obviously the things he's done off the court and the headaches he's caused just don't seem like the type of guy I would want repping the franchise at this moment. Now, if he could get right, that's cool. I'm rooting for him. Don't get me wrong. I want John Morant to succeed, but I don't know if I'm giving up those assets right now for John Morant. Like, we haven't even seen if Scoot has taken that step yet because he's unfortunately injured. But you're going to have Dame and all that. But like, if you're going to go make a move, like I saw a move that another hypothetical to your point that I don't think would happen, but it was one of those. Hey, what about this trade? Like, how about Jeremy Grant and Robert Williams and some of those pick assets we have for like Jaren Jackson Jr. Yeah, you put me in that conversation, I'm definitely listening. Definitely listening. Give me one of the best big men around, versatile, both sides of the floor, stretch the floor. That like game changer. I'd get in on that conversation before I got in on the John Morant conversation. But I'll tell you what, Brandon, you're not alone because that's not the first time I've heard that conversation. So we'll see what happens in the future. Still plenty to think about. All right, if you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Of course, you can go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, join the chat there. And, of course, hit us up on the new fancy text line. Text 88528. And give us your thoughts on the game over there. We're going to take a quick little break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, we're going to hit you with our drive of the night. Still got our shot of the night, Coach's Corner, game ball, all that fun stuff to get to here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right. Let's see what these bums in the YouTube chat are saying. Oh, hi there. How we doing? When I said bums, I was talking about Ignatius. Hawaii needs to play. I'll try to play when I get home. And if I don't play, you guys are going to have to get over it, okay? I'm tired. I didn't get home until almost 1 o'clock last night. I had to wake up and go back to work at 8. I'm exhausted. You might have to wait an extra day. But you know what? You will survive. For those of you who don't know, those guys play college football with me. They forced me into a dynasty. They like me to lose so they can pick on me. Also, Iron Rods says, so we know Billups is not coming back. We have no idea. We have no idea what the future of Chauncey Billups is. There's so much that to play out legally that obviously the league and the team have to deal with. I think you can assume pretty much what the future is. But legally, we have no idea what's going on in that realm, and I think, quite frankly, if he were to come back or be available to do so, like I mean, I just don't know if that survives an ownership change and all the things that come with it. Like it's a dark cloud to be involved in, the alleged activities he was involved in. So yeah, we have no idea. We have no idea. I wish I had more information to throw out there because you're not the first one to ask. But yeah, there's a lot to play there. Ryan talked about the jaw trade. Memphis would want more than that, and that's the thing. Memphis probably would want more, and I think Portland's future picks right now are valuable. I would part with them for the right piece, but I'm not parting with them for Ja Morant right now. Not at all. Like I said, maybe if you get in on like a Jaren Jackson type of trade, but it's just jaw doesn't make sense for the Blazers. That's you drove by the used car lot and you saw a flashy one because they took the time to make sure it was deep cleaned and polished. Oh, and the price tag in the window, maybe a little expensive, but it's nice. Only got a few miles on it. Ain't worth the price tag. Interest is gonna hurt you, so I'd stay away. I'd stay away from draw. We're almost back. Welcome back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, breaking down this unfortunate loss at the hands of the Chicago Bulls, where the Blazers did their best to come in and absolutely make a comeback for the century, and it just didn't happen as they fall to the Bulls 122 to 121. I do think I understand. Like, losing is unfortunate, so you want to pick this game apart. But I think this team deserves a little bit of credit because, quite honestly, in the pregame show, we were kind of expecting, that blowout. Like, it's going to be a tough game to stay close. And at the end of the third quarter, it felt like that's what it was going to be. It was going to be a blowout. There was not going to be a chance. And then the fourth quarter, they put it together and absolutely, found their stride and made it a game. And that's great. That's absolutely great. I love that for this team. And I also love that even under the circumstances of, again, no Drew Holiday, no Shaedon Sharp, no Robert Williams, no Matisse Thybulle, no Blake Wesley, no Scoot Henderson, not counting Dame because he's not playing all year. But you're missing all those guys, and the cards are stacked against you. Then the postgame presser, Tiago Splitter's still irritated. He's asked flat out, like, you leave this game, are you more, happy with your team's, fight and their resolve to get back in that game? Or are you more upset that you lost? And he's like, the loss. I don't like losing. No one wants that. So I appreciate that from him. And again, I think you do have to give. There's no moral victories, right? But the team fought back. The team fought back. Like Timmy Hammock. I'm going to use you as an example, my friend. He texts me in the middle of that game. This is brutal, me and my brother had to go grab a drink just to deal with it. What the heck's going on? If I would have told him right then and there, don't worry, they're gonna have a 30-7 run or whatever it was. They're gonna get back in this game. He would have laughed at me, and he would have probably been like, "Yeah, you know what? Blocking you because you're dumb." Like that's what he would have said to me. No one expected that, and so that fourth quarter was miraculous. And they are, a couple free throws made or a missed Vucevic three-pointer from walking away victorious. Which that's crazy how the NBA can be, because you go from talking about it, how heartbreaking this is and the mistakes they made, and had he not made that shot, we would have had an entire fifth quarter about how that might have been the best comeback of the year. Was that that would have felt better than the 20-point comeback against OKC, because at least that comeback, that was a first quarter deficit, not a fourth quarter deficit where you piled it on with your backs against the wall. So the NBA, it can fill your heart with joy. It can rip your heart apart too. Tonight, unfortunately, got ripped apart. But again, I do think you got to give the team a ton of credit for the way they did fight back. Fighting back's important, man. Fighting back's important. I do love the conversation about Ja Morant, too. Air Weldon says, Ja will come to the Blazers in the twilight of his career, like Melo. I don't know. Maybe if he first off, for that to work out, for it to work out for Ja to actually come in the twilight of his career, he has to be linked to the Blazers for like 3 years in a row and then you have to have Neil Olshey as your GM so that you can say Neil finally got his guy. Like that's how that works, right? Like, yep, finally got Melo a little too late. Remember like year after year after year, like, Pau Gasol could be a nice piece. Pau Gasol. Guess what? At the end of his career, hey, Pau Gasol's a Blazer. They introduce him at FanFest. He never plays a game and retires. Like, but the Blazers got their guy. I mean, come on. They offered Enes Kanter a max deal. Oklahoma City matches. A few years later, who's the Trailblazer? Enes Kanter. They finally got their guy. Oh, I love it. Speaking of getting their guys in the Blazers, totally forgot since he didn't dress for the game, but the Bulls have Zach Collins. And it's the 8th year in the NBA for Zach Collins, which I didn't like reading because I remember covering him a ton and doing some really cool documentaries around him and his family in Las Vegas for his rookie year when he was drafted by the Blazers. Was down in Las Vegas, his hometown, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, I feel like that was yesterday that we filmed those docs and got to meet him and his family, and now he's in year 8. This is kind of crazy. Also, it was his birthday today, which is kind of funny. So happy birthday to Zach Collins. If you want to join the conversation with us, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You can also go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio, and of course, the brand new Rip City Radio text line. Just grab your phone, text 88528, and you can get in on the conversation there where, people not happy about the loss, not happy about missing free throws, or just trying to throw me off my game with Temple Tough talk. People can't be trusted. With great power comes something. JJ, my guy, he says, my guy Donovan Clingan showed the F up tonight. Donovan Clingan had a game, man. Donovan Clingan had a game. What was that, 17 points he ended with tonight? That's right, 17 points. 21 rebounds, 10 offensive, 11 defensive. Had a couple block shots in there as well. The thing about the rebounds, though, it wasn't. I think like we have seen games where centers come in and have a ton of rebounds, but it kind of just feels like they're empty rebounds. JJ is another one text me during the game, and I'm like, dude, every single one of these rebounds has been massive. He's had, it was offensive rebounds, so he was just pulling down with Vucevic down the paint, just an old school center battle, which was wonderful. At one point, they were battling. He gets that rebound, and he doesn't even get a chance to go up because Vucevic just bear hugs him. He goes to the line, misses a free throw because they missed a lot of those tonight. But the glass work was incredible. You look at the stats on this one too. The second chance points for your Portland Trailblazers, their ability to get back in this game. Like if it wasn't for those rebounds on the offensive glass and a chance to get those second chance points, they would have been housed by Chicago. They outscored Chicago on second chance points 38-10. 38-10. That is a 28-point difference in second chance points. Now, both teams had 16 turnovers. Points off turnovers were roughly the same. They favored Chicago 23-21. Fast break points favored Chicago 21-14. But seriously, 38-10 on second chance points. Total rebounds in this game. You ready for a number that's going to blow your mind? Total rebounds in this game. Portland out-rebounded Chicago 64-38. 64-38. 26 of them on the offensive glass. 10 of them at the hands of Donovan Clingan. So they don't do that work on the glass. There was no chance in this game. The work on the glass by Donovan Clingan and company saved them. That's no fooling. Absolutely saved them. So great work there. But when you look at the box score, like, oh my gosh, 28 more second chance points, almost doubled them up in rebounds, and they lost? Yeah, this is a weird box score game. A very, very weird box score game. All right, this is the fifth quarter. I'm your host, Chris Burkhardt. You can follow me on social at Chris J. Burkhardt. And, of course, follow the station as well at Rip City Radio 620. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to head to the coach's corner, hand out a game ball, and get out of here. I think I'm still reeling from last night. What a night it was. A late night. Those 8 o'clock tips. We still got a few more of those before the season's done, too. So get ready. Buckle up, my friends. But before we go to break, it's time for your shot of the night.
Mountain Cold Refreshment. Choose chill. Time for the fifth quarter shot of the night on your home of the Portland Trailblazers. 620 Rip City Radio.
Giddy will get it into the front court. Jeremy Grant will defend the inbound pass. Blazers trying to complete the comeback. Giddy throws it in. White has it up top. Dribbles right. Has it on the wing. He attacks with 2 seconds. Spin. Slips through. Throws out. Vucevic 3 for the win. Let's go.
We talk about no threes, guard out the drivers, and no helps. Somebody made a mistake, but that's part of the game, and that's not the only play that we did wrong. We got to count the whole game. I don't like to point one play and that's it. They make 21 threes. We talk about that before the game, so it's not one play. It's sum of many plays.
How would you describe the team's fight to come back down 21 to face
Yeah, I
them?
mean, fourth quarter, it was outstanding grit, fighting, a lot of guys playing a lot of minutes in a row. I think Chris Murray played 20, and just going through the adversity and making plays, both ends. Just fell short.
Can you describe the wave of emotions in that game, coming back and then having it ripped away at the end like that?
Yeah, I mean, one of those games that you're down, you're trying to find something, try to find a group that they can compete and just match what they are doing. They're a very good basketball team where drive and kick, and they have a bunch of shooters that everybody can shoot in their team. So it really makes a lot of stress on the defense because they have 5 guys that can shoot the ball, right? Like the 5s are popping and taking our 5 out of the paint, and so it's tricky. And then we went small, tried to switch everything, for certain moments, but then we lose rebounds, and DC got back there and did a good job. They finally made some shots. We made a good run. Danny, attacking and creating for us. Jeremy Grant, that was sick, came and played 37 minutes. A lot of guys did great things, and what can I say? It's a tough one.
11 is free throws tonight. Is that just one of those nights where those weren't going down?
Yeah, I mean, that's also part of it. So gotta get better there.
Do you leave more irritated about the win or more emboldened about the way your team played despite missing so many guys?
More irritated.
Why is that?
Because I want to win, and it doesn't matter. We have guys there that are capable. I think that third quarter wasn't the third quarter we won. The fourth quarter was great, but I want to win. So.
What is that one piece that the team needs the most at this point? Is
Point guard.
So less turnover, more creative?
Yeah.
Who is the MVP tonight for the Trailblazers? It's time for Game Balls on Fifth Quarter. Live from the Coors Light Studios. Coors Light. Choose chill.
All right, time to hand out a game ball here on the fifth quarter. And let me tell you what, this is actually hard. It's actually hard. The triple-double by Denny was phenomenal. The rebounds by Donovan Clingan were huge. Jeremy Grant almost having a double-double. That doesn't happen too often. But it's hard. It could be. It's like a co-game ball. You know what? I run the show. I'm doing it. Co-game ball. Boop. Game ball to Denny for the triple-double, 32, 11, and 11. Obviously contributed in a multitude of ways, and they probably don't make that comeback without him. And then another game ball to Donovan Clingan, because those rebounds were absolutely huge. I love that he had 21 rebounds. I don't think any of them was just an empty rebound. They were all massive. And in the fourth quarter, he absolutely went to work. I mean, he was bodying Nikola Vucevic, who, boy, that's a vet center right there. He was out dueling him in the paint, on the glass. You love to see it. I would, in fact, hope this is the type of game that Donovan can look at tape and go, I want to play like that every single night. Get rid of these games where you're giving me 4 rebounds. Give me that every single night. So shout out to both those guys, because the overall performances was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. The Rousing Rat, though, says DC can't wait till the second half to play like a big man. You're right. He's got to come out the gate. They all do. They can't wait till the fourth quarter to have these comebacks. Consistency is key with all these guys. Got to be consistent. Got to find those ways to succeed. And you know what? I think they will in the long run. But again, those two guys, I thought they played incredible. Absolutely incredible. So yeah, it's a good game. It was a good game. Like I was ready to go to bed by halftime. Third quarter, I was just sitting here going, "What's going on? Not again!" And then end up having one of the most entertaining quarters of the season in the fourth, and that's basketball. And we can sit here and we can pick on the team for mistakes they made or this and that, but man, that fourth quarter comeback was absolutely fun. That was absolutely fun, and hopefully it's something they can build on. I think you got to give them a ton of credit. Yeah, guys playing out of position, trying to figure things out, putting together some crazy lineups. I mean, seriously, once again, guys, no Robert Williams, no Drew Holiday, no Matisse Thybulle, no Blake Wesley, no Scoot Anderson. Obviously, no Dame, who's not going to play at all this year. Like, they are missing bodies. Not a single healthy, true point guard. And they come out here and they have a fourth quarter like that. And you just heard it there from Tiago, too. You know, what is this team missing? A point guard. A point guard. And they absolutely are. And I don't know how you fix that. We talked about it a little bit on the pregame show. Maybe you use one of those two-way spots and you go out there and get a G League guy who is a true point guard who all they do is dribble the ball, set up the offense. Just something to fill that spot, right? And that's great. I do make the joke. I mean, it's not a two-way guy, but, hey, what's Tim Frazier up to? That's a Damian Lillard guy right there. Bring him in. So those parts suck. I do think one thing that is interesting to note that in a game like tonight, that you went 18 minutes with Caleb Love. Javonte Cook came in. He got 8 minutes. Dwap Reith got 2.5, but perhaps telling that he hasn't made the jump that they want him to, that in a game like this, when you are as short as you can be, Ryan Rupert doesn't get in the game. So that's a little interesting too. Maybe that changes in the long run. I don't know what's going on there, but if you're not good enough to get in the game in a situation like this, that's rough. That's rough. So I don't know. I don't know what went on there, or if there was a reason why he didn't play, but he didn't get in this one. But you're right. Ryan says you're missing more than a point guard. I get that. I absolutely get that. But right now, when you have no one that can just handle that ball and slow the offense down, it is a struggle. I actually thought tonight the guy who did it the best was, at least for chunks of the game, was Jeremy Grant. Just get the vet savvy in him. Denny did better, not rushing things. Just there's a work in progress. It's Rupert. Rupert ship has sailed, says Weldon, and it very well may have. It very well may have. But once again, Blazers fall to the Bulls, 122 to 121, in a game that just makes me want to plug in my Super Nintendo and play some Bulls versus Blazers in the rest of the NBA playoffs. Classic game. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Once again, Blazers fall to the Bulls 122 to 121 to end a quick little homestand. Blazers will be back on the road. 3-game trip sees them going to Golden State, Oklahoma City, and Milwaukee. Going to be an interesting trip. Milwaukee likely to be without Giannis Antetokounmpo. Then they return home on Wednesday, the 26th, for a matchup with the Spurs, where likely Victor Wembanyama's not playing, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, they play Friday against Golden State, 7 o'clock tip, which means Blazer game day will start at 5 o'clock. Unfortunately, I will not be there. Got to sit this one out. I will be partaking in some high school football down at Willamette University, watching some 5A football semifinals, and then bouncing around the state on Saturday watching some more football because state championships are next weekend. I know Eric Weldon's all about that. There's a chance I'll see him out there. I know he's a high school sports guy. Go Putnam. All right. Once again, Blazers fall to the Bulls 122 to 121. They'll be back in action Friday, 7 o'clock tip. Game day at 5 o'clock. All right, here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio. I will be back Sunday. So usually I say Rip City, I'll talk to you on the next one. But Rip City, I'll talk to you on the next one. Have a good one.